It's time to get the latest on the green and gold as we go in the huddle. In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay tight end DJ Williams.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tanner's in Kimberly. Along with DJ Williams, Justin Hall from WSCO Radio is alongside as well. And I'm Bill Scott. Good to have you along here from Tanner's in Kimberly. The Packers even the record at 1-1 with that 23-10 victory over the Bears last Thursday night. And it was really a night for the defense that really turned their fortunes around after a tough game against a good 49ers team. They came out, DJ, and were simply fascinating defensively in that football game.
Good to watch. I think they had 7 sacks, 4 interceptions. Clay, I think, probably had 4 sacks by himself, but they gave him 3.5. But it was an unbelievable game to watch and to see Clay get back to the way that he used to be. And I think that just helps with having, Nick Perry and Worthy drafted on that line and giving Clay a chance to get those one-on-one matchups.
Did you see how many times Clay was held that he got no holding calls?
Unbelievable. I mean, surprised I didn't pull his hair out.
It was unbelievable. 7 quarterback sacks, as you mentioned it all, so that was a huge night. 6 now for Clay for 2 games. And, I'm starting to hear chatter about Clay Matthews maybe being in fact, some people are throwing him right in with the Reggie White company in terms of greatest pass rushers in Packers history. It's a pretty good company.
So far in my NFL career, he's up there at number 1 because I get to see him every day in practice, and he really doesn't step off that gas pedal very often. He's just an incredible talent, and he works hard. I mean, people think he has those big guns for nothing. He's in the weight room every day perfecting his skill and his sculpture, or you could say it.
Do you see a difference this year with him from last year? I know the numbers were down a little bit last year, but obviously, this year he's many sacks in 2 games as he had all last season.
The only difference I see is how teams are approaching playing him. Last year, they would have double teams. They'd have a running back chip him on the way out. Now I feel like they're respecting our whole defensive line because, Clay did have a great game, but that whole line works as one unit. And, him having a good game is compliments for the other 3 guys on the line playing. So,
I think
it works out for him.
That's a good point because the Bears, even though Jamarcus Webb may have been the weak link at left tackle on their offensive line, they didn't double Clay every time because there are other guys that were hitting home as well. And so I think they tried to mix it up as best they could.
Yeah, very true. And that's just very promising to see because once our offense gets rolling, our defense is clicking. I don't see us losing any more games.
So the offense is a little slow out of the gate through 2 games. What's up?
Can't explain it. That's a tough one. We understand we have the talent. We know what to do and when to do and why it's not clicking quite yet. We haven't figured it out, but, I'm sure after coming off a momentum of beating the Bears, now we're going to go out to Seattle. That'll be a tough traveling road trip and get to see old Wisconsin great Russell Wilson out there and our old buddy Flynn. So it'll be a good test on the road to see what we really can do and what this year is going to be like.
Are teams approaching you differently from their defense versus your offense? Kind of, the same way you talked about with Clay. Are you seeing a little different things this year, from the other side?
I think they are starting to play us more like a 7-on-7 team, if that makes any sense. And what was really good to see was Benson run the way that he did. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to be having to put more people in the box to respect the run, and if you do that, then it just opens up all our receivers, and Aaron's choices were to throw the ball. So if we can balance our running game and our passing game like we did against the Bears, we're going to be a very hard team to stop.
2 teams, San Francisco did it. The Bears do it a lot. That deep cover 2, safeties are deep. They want to keep everything in front of you, and quite frankly, they make you make more plays. They don't give you anything deep and try to stay away from the big play over the top. And against the Packers are in the first 2 games kind of just showing that they're a little human too.
Yeah, just a little bit. We usually have those big plays that we saw a lot last year, and they're coming. We're just need to be a little patient. Hopefully they'll start coming here in week 3. But teams do try to play that chess match type of game with us where we have to chip away and give instead of giving up that big play. But I think, like I said, with Benson running the way that he is, James will be back soon, starts in the backfield, and Alex Green is coming on strong. That running game is really going to open a lot of things up.
Is it hard to be patient it's such a tough word no matter what you do, but patience, waiting for those, those big plays to happen.
I mean, I was a little spoiled last year watching Aaron just go on the field and throw a 60-yard bomb for a touchdown on a 3-play drive, and we need to get back to doing that.
Tell me about the fake field goal. Were you as surprised the timing of the play, the 4th and 26, that it was called? Not that it was called, but it was called there in that situation?
I had about 10 seconds of preparation for that because I was standing there, once again, me and Ryan Taylor, my sideline buddy, and we're going on for the field goal. It was 4th and 26, and I heard the coach say what we call it, and I'll make up a name, say we called it turtle. And he said it real nonchalantly as the field goal unit was running out, and Ryan and I both looked at each other like, did he seriously call that? It's 4th and 26. And sure enough, before they snapped, we looked at the front, was like, this may actually work, the way that the defense is lined up. They snap it, and sure enough, he springs for a touchdown, and Tom gets back. And I was like, I can't believe they called it. I was like, dude, I can't believe they called it either. I almost told them to cut it off. What's going on? It's 4th and 26. But it worked out good, and he took about 2 plays off because he said he was too tired.
Sparks is what it's called, right?
Okay, they did tell you what it was. It was Sparks.
Mike McCarthy volunteered that information, so yeah, you're off the hook.
Fair enough.
One of the things I thought interesting about that play as you watch it, and we've seen several replays of it, is just how greatly executed everybody's assignment. Crosby, as
as the ball, part.
He has a huge part. He takes off and goes to the left, even though the play's coming right. He goes to the left, and he drew 2 Bears defenders out there. They had the fake covered on their side, but you draw 2. That's just 2 less guys that are not going to be able to make a play on Crabtree.
The big one that he got was Tillman when Crosby ran to the left. If you really watch that play closely, Tillman could have just kept the path that he was going and tackled Tom before he even got across the line of scrimmage, but I can understand, the threat that Mason Crosby has in the running game. So I understand why they respected him.
Are you aware of the history of 4th and 26 in Green Bay Packer football?
I haven't been up to date on it yet.
Okay, because I know for a lot of Packer fans, it was, 2004, 2005 against Philadelphia. There was a 4th and 26 play that Freddie Mitchell converted, and Philadelphia ended up knocking the Packers out of the playoffs. And 4th and 26 is just a number that you heard the reaction that Packer fans just react to. So now maybe some positive 4th and 26 lore moving forward.
We turned that around for the future.
Certainly was. And of course, the Packers put a pretty good charge into the offense and the rest of the football team as they execute that play. We'll come back and we'll continue our conversation. Packers, Bears, and Packers looking forward. Still more to come from Tanners and Kimberly in the Huddle with Justin Hull and DJ Williams. Back after this on the Woodward Radio Network. Transportation for our guests during the season brought to you by L&S Classic Limousine Service. Personal to professional service for all occasions. Call Lenny or Sue at 920-730-8297 for your reservation. 730-8297. Back with DJ Williams, tight end of the Green Bay Packers, and Justin Hull from WSCO Radio here in Appleton as we continue here talking Packers, Bears, and a little football action after a quiet weekend for the players. You guys were let out basically after, some film and meetings early Friday? And
very early. We went in just for a workout, to be honest. And then after that, we got out of town. I actually went to Arkansas for a couple days and watched the Hogs play Alabama this weekend. It was a rough 52-0 loss that I had to watch on the sideline. But
I hope you had other business there.
Well, I brought Randall down with me, so I had him nagging in my ear the whole time about how great Arkansas is, and so we had a fun trip after the game, I guess you could say.
He went to Kentucky, though. Don't you throw that at him? This is actually what.
Well, every time I say that, the 2 years that I played Kentucky at Arkansas, of course we lost. And my last year I lost to Kentucky. Randall scored the last 2 touchdowns to come back and beat us. So he keeps reminding me about that.
Speaking of Randall Cobb, he's off to a pretty good start, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I brought him down there to Arkansas. Everybody thought him for the fantasy points that he gave everybody. He's been playing some good football, and it's very good to see how consistently he's making plays all over the field.
What do you remember of him from college? How he was used and all the different, facets of the game he played.
I honestly just remember how big of a helmet he had. He looked like a bobblehead running around on the field. I don't know if he had concussion problems or what it was, but his helmet was just so big it didn't fit his body.
I'll tell you
one thing I remember about him.
When he carried that ball or had that ball go through the middle and then got popped and had to leave the game, and they were working on his shoulder afterwards on the sidelines. I'm a little worried there. I mean, the start that he's had, I think he's going to be a huge part of the Packers' offense, but turned out to be nothing. He was fine and back in the game and played well. But I asked Mike McCarthy in his presser on Friday if he's a little concerned about how many touches Randall gets going to the inside, trying to potentially stay away from those linebackers and things like that. He said he wasn't.
Yeah, I told him if he's going to get more carries at running back, he better hit that weight room, because he is a little guy running through the hole, and we got Brian Urlacher coming down at you. It's a different ball game.
192 he's listed at.
192, taking on 310-pounders.
Yeah, it's a little light. Hey, Jay Cutler picked off 4 times, bad body language at all. He goes into a shell just about every time, things go negative for Cutler. I thought the classic line of the game afterwards, Charles Woodson said after the game, same old Jay, if we get in the right position, Jay will throw us the ball. Now, all these Packer fans out here laugh, but you know what? If somebody said that the other way on the other side, then it would be nothing but bulletin board material, and they'd all be offended by what they said. I thought, sometimes the good players can they can talk the talk if they can walk the walk, But I did think that was a little touchy, don't you?
Yeah, it's Charles. I mean, you can't say anything what he says. I mean, we always I'll tell you what's funny. We pay union dues. The union pays the NFLPA. And the NFLPA are like there just in case we need them for, advice, or if they can help us through, like they helped out the Saints with the bounty program. Right. So anyway, so the way they make their money is by the money that we give them out of our check every week. And so some people just like, man, I don't feel like paying union dues. I mean, they can get by. I mean, I stay out of trouble. I really don't need them. And then say, all right, I'm not paying them this year. Then Woodson comes around. You pay them union dues? Hey, yes, sir. So,
what is it based on a percentage, or is it just a certain fee for union dues?
Yeah, I won't get into numbers, but everyone pays the same amount. I'm like, Woodson, you've been here for like 20 years. You've got a little money saved up. But still, yes, sir. I'll make sure I get those dues paid.
Any union requests? You don't have to share any names or anything, but any crazy requests or anything that you've heard of?
We got the union, pretty much the president of everything, Jeff Saturday here, and he always puts in a request for a couple extra days off. No padded practices. That's just 25 years in the league talking, I guess. I don't know any better.
Packers did a good job after the first week to get the running game back in check. Those offensive linemen, I'm sure, are going to be glad that they're not going to have to deal with those questions all week long. But 81 yards on 20 carries for Cedric Benson. Certainly, it just looked a lot better.
Mm-hmm. It looked great, and he's been working on it all week in practice, finishing through the runs, even through our walkthroughs. He's sprinting. You could tell that he wanted to have a big game, and he did. And the running game is looking great. Now, what I think would be awesome, there's so many of us on the field. There's tight ends, they create mismatch problems for a defense. You bring in one tight end, the defense may bring in a passing defense. You bring in 4 tight ends, they're going to bring in their big boys to block everything. So I'm saying if we got Jermichael, we got Tom Crabtree, we got Ryan Taylor, and me, Finley play receiver, Tom is the tight end, Ryan at fullback, and I would gladly play the running back. How do you guard that? Unbelievable.
Did you run that by Mike at all?
Well, if they bring in the big boys, then we all spread out and just throw the ball. And if they bring in the little ones, then I'll go ahead and run it.
Yeah. See, I like that because you guys, even though you have some good blockers in that group, are all pretty much athletic wide receiver type tight ends.
Yeah, just mixing it up.
Absolutely.
Do a no huddle segment.
I like that. The next time you have your team meeting, why don't you?
I'll talk to Mike. Yeah, see how he likes
that. Either that, or talk to Charles, see if he'll bring it up for you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Story popped up in the Journal Sentinel on Thursday, the day of the game, from Bob McGinn. It created a little bit of a controversy, certainly amongst the fans anyway. The Packers would be wise to deal Jennings was the headline. Huge story that covered a number of different aspects, but suggested that the Packers, with Jennings in the final year of his contract, would be better off getting something for him now to help the Packers down the road, as opposed to letting him leave. Now, there was not a lot of talk about the franchise tag, but this reporter seemed to think that the Packers are not going to jam up a player with a franchise tag, so that was kind of the basis of his story. I ask you, were you aware of that story?
I've heard of trade talk with him, and especially with his contract coming up. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, just seeing how he is, I can't see him doing nothing but making this team better. He's just now hitting his peak, hitting his prime, and he has many years of football left in him, and hopefully those many years are here at Green Bay.
Yeah. See, my thought on the deal, and I'll let Justin weigh in too, is Ted Thompson already plans for the future by the way he drafts. He doesn't sign a lot of free agents, just those that they really need to plug certain holes. Otherwise, for the most part, they go through the draft. So if you have a football team that you think in the end, in December, January, is going to be pushing for a deep run in the playoffs and potentially a Super Bowl, why would you take a very key component out of that mix, as opposed to keeping him there and letting him contribute to that potential Super Bowl run?
Yeah, he does a lot more than just catch passes. He's a voice within the team. He's a leader, and that goes a long way, and it's hard to come by, and that comes by a lot of experience, and he has it. And so it would be a surprise if he didn't have that G on the side of his helmet.
You look at, too, on Sunday with some of the rhythm stuff, too, not having Greg in there. I mean, that's got to play into it, too, with your arsenal, with all the weapons that you guys have. I mean, you can never have too many weapons in today's NFL, right?
Very true. And I'll tell you what was good was seeing Driver get in that end zone, busting that dance. That's some good stuff. I was happy to see that.
To me, it always happens like that, too. A guy doesn't get any opportunity the week before. The media makes a big deal out of it. He says a few things in the locker room, but Donald didn't say anything damaging by any stretch. He just said, I'll be patient, wait my turn, and lo and behold, his turn came with the only touchdown pass by the Packers of that football game.
I like him. I hope he scores again. He told me after the game, just wait till you see my dance on my next touchdown. So I really hope we get him back in that end zone.
What'd you think of his dance after the last touchdown?
I don't even know what it was. Yeah. It looked good.
He didn't miss much, though.
Yeah.
Anybody giving, is he giving dance lessons to anybody?
I want to see if he can polka, man.
I tell you, I need to learn this salsa. All right, I always talk about a girl. I did meet this other girl, and she's from Mexico. And
so you got a salsa, huh?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you knew, but when, Latinos like to go out on the town. They usually like to go dance, and whereas we may hear a song every once in a while. We'll dance, sit back down, hang out. They just dance and don't stop dancing all night. So I need to pick up my salsa skills.
Learn how to polka too.
I don't even know what polka is.
You can pick up chicks doing the polka. Yeah. Trust me. All right, when we come back, more on the Packers, Bears, and more football ahead. DJ Williams, Justin Hull, back with more in the Huddle from Tanners and Kimberly on the Woodward Radio Network. Back at Tanners and Kimberly as we continue here with DJ Williams and Justin Hull from WSCO Radio. I'm Bill Scott. Good to have you along here. A very quick turnaround for the Packers from Sunday to Thursday. Not a real opportunity for the bodies to heal, fully recover from one game going into the next. Safety, as it's become such an issue in the league, and yet they continue to go Sunday to Thursday, basically, 4 days, 3 days in between, and on the fourth day you're playing another football game. Are you surprised that continues, or is it the almighty dollar and television speaks?
A little bit of both, and I think the coaches understand it's a short week, and they do a great job of keeping the players as fresh as possible with practice, not putting on pads, and doing more mental stuff than getting out there and running around. Because, at this point, hopefully you can turn on that switch. And that's what we did Thursday. And Bears had struggled a little bit doing it, but that's just part of it. And from a player's perspective on this whole safety thing, when we see all these hits that people get fined for, sometimes we're just like, they need to just kind of calm down a little bit. And just, we understand the risk of playing football, but, that just adds to why we do it. We like the physical contact and the big hits and the stuff that make the people go, ooh. That's football.
You like the Thursday nighters, though, considering you get the weekend off after. You don't get many weekends off, through the 17-week season.
No, that's good. It's like an extra bye week. So we really love playing on Thursday nights.
Sam Shields returned to start on the outside against the Bears, played very well. Eric Walden, coming back from his one-game suspension, played very well. In fact, he took about two-thirds of the snaps at outside linebacker ahead of Nick Perry. Two of the changes that the Packers made defensively that really, kind of turned their game around on that side of the ball.
Yeah, it was good to see them out there making plays for our defense, and that just tells you how when the defense has a unit, whenever they're missing one person who plays a role, it affects the whole unit. And so when we're out there 11 strong on defense, 11 strong on offense, and on special teams, and everybody's on the same page, you give yourself a better opportunity to succeed.
Jay Cutler, not sure how aware of what was happening or how aware you were of what was happening during the game in terms of his yelling at his players as they were coming off the field, but I'm sure you saw plenty of it afterwards, replays and so forth. Are you surprised he did that? And as a teammate, how do you take that?
Yeah, I saw that on SportsCenter the next day of him, and it blew my mind that if you pick someone to yell at, don't yell at the person who's going to make sure that Clay Matthews or whoever's not going to take your head off the next play. Mm-hmm. You know, pick on like maybe a receiver who may drop a ball. Tell them get your mind right, but don't pick on your protection. That blew my mind. He did that. So I don't know if that came after the 7 sacks or
it was during. Yeah, I mean he was getting hit quite a bit. I mean you can certainly understand his frustration. You almost thought he should have went over and yelled at the offensive coordinator for not lining up more protection on that side.
Yeah, just from I guess inside. You've seen any given Sunday when they didn't block for Willie Beeman.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
had that whole situation.
So if that's and I'll take it one step further because Rodgers kind of undressed James Jones. Mike McCarthy defended the whole process afterwards, which you expect him to do. I don't, it was one play as opposed to several plays, but I have a feeling if Rodgers was getting, hit, sacked 7 times and 10 more hits on top of that like Jay Cutler was, he'd be yelling at his offensive lineman too. And I guess I'm asking you, is that right? I mean, should a player be doing that? Don't you risk losing not only your popularity, but your voice to the team as a captain, as a leader, if that happens continually?
I think if you're the leader on the football team, you should know your personnel. And if it was Aaron doing it, I would expect him, it was someone he has that relationship with, that he can do that, and that's going to get to that player to pick their game up, So we can't speak for, Cutler and his offensive line that he yelled at. Mm-hmm. They could just have that relationship of that's what it takes for them to start playing better. But we don't know. I mean, if somebody like Aaron did that on our team, we'd listen because, that's the type of person he is. We respect him, and if he wants us to get going, he'll make sure we'll do what we need to do.
Some players take it a little differently than others, and who you can yell at and who you can't yell at.
Yeah, I mean, you can yell at me. I'll probably just say, all right, man, I'll try harder next time. Mm-hmm. There's probably some people you just can't yell at, or it'll just send them rolling downhill.
Right.
You seem like a hard guy to get yelled at, though.
I try to do what's right.
Yeah.
I already had my bad experience last year by not running on the field, and so ever since then I've been trying to keep my plate clean.
The next time you might not get to run on the field, right? Yeah. Hey, how about the official that declared himself a Saints fan? He had Saints pictures, Saints paraphernalia, Saints whatever, all over his Facebook page, and he almost officiated a Saints game. About 2 hours before kickoff, the NFL got wind of the fact that he's a Saints fan and pulled him from the Saints-Carolina game yesterday.
That's unbelievable.
Isn't that something?
I mean, just keep it to yourself. I mean, our referees tell us all the time we're pulling for y'all today, guys. I'm just kidding. Obviously.
So do you have a favorite NFL team that you keep under wraps?
I didn't. Being at Arkansas, the university was our pro football team, and I still had to watch that bad stuff last Saturday, but it's all right.
That's going to take a while to get out of the system. Isn't
it? That's going to be rough. Yeah. They got a lot of wounds to heal.
Who's up next weekend?
We got Rutgers.
So
hopefully we'll pull one out.
Okay.
Still representing, though.
You got to.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to read that defensive players are grabbing more, holding jerseys, illegal contact, because they're getting away with it, and they're taking full advantage. Do you sense that? You feel that as a receiver that they know they're getting away with it, so they're doing it more?
You can see how the pressure on these new officials are really starting to get to them. making calls when they don't need to, and they're missing them when they need to make them. And I mean, they're probably in a tough position to, having these big-time athletes or known figures in sports and coaches and fans and everyone just criticize their every move, and so they may start to miss people. And I think people do use that to an advantage. And hopefully, if that's the way it is, our defense is doing it too.
Do you think they're being over-scrutinized, though?
I think so. I mean, it's how fast this game moves. It takes people to get used to, and the NFL officials that we had the years before, they were used to the speed of the game. They were used to the ins and outs, and they're just coming in as rookies, making mistakes like any other rookie would make.
Yeah, but if it weren't for the strike, these people would never get a chance to work an NFL game. I mean, you're talking about one person coming from the lingerie league. People doing very small. Oh yeah,
wow,
yeah. I mean, honest goodness,
which one?
They would not be there, and I think the over scrutinization, so to speak, I think that's coming. I think it's directed at the league through these officials, because these officials, they're not as good. There's no way they could be as good. And I didn't sense it in week one, but I sensed it yesterday as I watched a lot of football yesterday, and I sensed that officials were losing control of certain games. There was a lot of physical stuff. Punches thrown, you name it. And I guarantee you that there would have been a couple of ejections yesterday had it been the irregular officials, but I think these people are intimidated to throw a player out of a game or players out of a game. I thought they were losing control of football games yesterday.
And I think the league can see that as well, and I would be very surprised if nothing got settled here pretty soon.
But that's got to be hard, though, too, because that's out there. But, if you say anything, A, you're going to get fined, and B, everyone's dealing with the same thing, right?
Yeah, no one has an advantage. Everyone's in the same boat. So I guess that's all right.
Tampa Bay and the Giants, right at the end, Eli Manning's going to kneel down, and the Bucs, they basically don't quit. They don't take the kneel down. They dive at the legs of the quarterback. Greg Schiano taking heat after the game. Tom Coughlin ran on the field. Your thoughts?
I disagreed with how they went about that. If the game has been decided, and if that was us and they jumped across the line and tried to get after Aaron, it'd probably be a big event on the field, especially with the O-lineman. They wouldn't have had it, so it really would have got out of hand. I think that's something that you just don't do.
Yeah, I think Schiano, by not apologizing afterwards or not saying, we were probably not in the right there, we're going to have to make sure we don't do that again. I think he's setting some of his own guys up.
Yeah.
For people to take shots at them. Going to be interesting to see how that plays itself out. Still more to come. Our email segment is coming up in 3 minutes. Still more to come from Tanners and Kimberly. Back with our Granite Peak email segment on the Woodward Radio Network. Back at Tanner Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly, and the Huddle continues with DJ Williams and Justin Hall from WSCO Radio here in Appleton. It is time now for our email segment, brought to you by Granite Peak Ski Area. Granite Peak Ski Area gearing up for an incredible ski season. Season passes are on sale now through September 30th. If you ski or ride 6 times or more, and you can get that pass. That's your best value. New this season, Granite Peak welcoming Dasher. It's a new high-speed quad chairlift serving the western runs. Best just keeps getting better. Visit skigranitepeak.com. And time now for our email segment. And Justin Hull, it's your part of the show.
All right, let's do it. InTheHuddleShow.com. That's the website. You can go there and submit your questions each and every week, or tweet at InTheHuddleShow, and we can find your questions there. We'll start with this one from Christy in Reedsburg. Do you hold any high school or college records?
I do hold the college records for most career receptions by a tight end at the University of Arkansas. Thank you. And most in one game. I think I broke. No, Keith Jackson wasn't there. I think I did break one of his records, but he wasn't in Arkansas, so I couldn't take it away from him. But right. I told him about it.
How many receptions in a game?
There was 10 in one game against Ole Miss when Coach Nutt was coaching. He recruited me, then he left, and so I had to repay him for,
You had to show him he was right.
Yeah, show him he did a good job.
You talk about recruiting. What were some of the other schools that were after your services?
I really thought I was going to go to Oklahoma State. And Arkansas really was the last school to offer me. And almost every other school wanted me to play defense, and Arkansas was one of the only ones that wanted me to play offense, so I went there.
All right. We'll move along here. Next question from Vicky in Appleton. Do all the players watch the games together during the weekends when they are off?
It depends. I think you usually take our downtime away from football. I'm going to go out and start watching West Pier on my Friday nights, and I heard they're pretty good.
They are really good.
Yeah. That's good.
There's some good high school in the area, too. So, do you watch any NFL games then? I mean, if, Seattle's on, do you try to get down and watch them?
I watched a little bit of the Seattle game because, we are going to play them, trying to see if they're cover 2 or one high defense. I know all that's probably Chinese to a lot of people, but just a little game planning before we really start tomorrow.
All right. We'll get to our next question here. This one coming in from Doug in Appleton. What is the worst job you have ever had?
Well, I've only had one other job besides this one, and I was a waiter at a bar and grill, and I loved it. I had a good job. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but it's perks having waiters because no matter what the tip is, you can keep it. And playing at Arkansas, there's some big-time Arkansas fans that would come in and eat, and they tip pretty good. So I had a pretty good college gig.
So that was when you were in school in Arkansas? Because I thought you weren't supposed to work when you were in Arkansas.
It's during the off season.
Oh, okay.
You can work during the off season?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can see you as
I passed compliance. I mean, after one tip, I even brought it into compliance and said, okay, am I going to get in trouble for this? And they ran it through the NCAA, and it's part of the job. I mean, it wasn't nothing out of hand.
Yeah.
It was only like $20,000.
Yeah. How much money can you make, like during an off season, to be in compliance? I mean, isn't there a cutoff?
I'm sure. I mean, I didn't make that much like I'm making it sound like.
Not trying to get you in trouble here. I'm just.
No, but I mean, even if I did get a good tip, I'd probably split it with my coworkers because we all do the same amount of good hard work. So it was a good gig.
Yeah.
Is that common though in college to have a job in the off season, or is it just something you?
Some people do. I mean, I think it's good for some people to get out and earn money. You hear these college athletes complaining about pay to play, but they don't understand they're paying for their education. And if they want extra money, then they can go out just like anyone else and earn it.
Finally, somebody sees it the way I do. That's awesome.
All right.
I'm the first person that finally agrees with me.
I did have one more question coming in as well. What other sports did you play as a kid, and did you have any choices other than football?
Well, besides me being the next Kobe Bryant,
we talked about that last week.
Or 2 weeks ago, or whatever. Was that last week?
A couple weeks ago. Yeah.
I really liked basketball. I really liked soccer, but I never played it. Just always thought it would be cool. Baseball, I was a catcher. And can't think of any other extreme sport I did.
You were probably a pretty tall catcher.
I kind of grew a little bit. I was chunky. I was a big boy, Yeah, they didn't get past that.
They always get thrown into the catcher spot.
Good deal. And my sister was a cheerleader, so obviously I got forced into learning a couple cheers here and there with her and her friends. She had cute friends when they came over there, so it was all right.
No golf or anything like that?
No, I wish I would have picked up golf, but it's all right.
How about bowling? I mean, that's the one sport that you have to do around here because I think it was James Jones a couple of years said if you don't bowl, you don't do nothing.
I really didn't pick it up till I came here, and now I even got my own ball, so it's pretty cool.
So how often do you bowl?
Well,
with your own ball.
With my own ball. Off season, we almost win every day. And now that we
right?
Wow, it's Green Bay.
I mean, it can be boring at times around here, but it's not that boring, is it? Where you bowl every day?
Bowling's fun though, man. I mean, I don't know if I'm not burnt out on it yet. After I got my ball, I really felt really official out there.
So what kind of scores are we talking about?
I got in the 200s before.
Okay.
Like 201, but that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
But averaging around 170, 180, I think that's pretty solid.
You got to get the guys together and go join a bowling league.
Oh, we did.
Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
I was in a bowling league.
Okay.
It was with me, Devon House, and Samson Genus while he was still here, and we went out to Swabinon, and I think it was Thursday nights. I can't remember what night it was, but yeah, we were in a league. It's good stuff.
If you want a sub, let me know. We could always use one.
All right, fair enough.
All right, that's our very own Justin Hall with our Granite Peak email segment. We'll be back to announce our winner for this week. When we return, we'll take a look at the Seahawks. That's coming up around the corner in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle continues from Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly. DJ Williams and Justin Hull alongside. I'm Bill Scott. It is time now to announce our Granite Peak Ski Package winner for our email contest during the last segment. Justin, who do you have?
All right, picked at random this week, and we'll go with Christy in Reedsburg. She had the question about the records in high school and college, so she'll pick up the Granite Peak Ski Package for emailing in this week. InTheHuddleShow.com. Bookmark it. Do whatever you have to do. We'll get the questions to DJ every week.
All right, looking forward to that. Thank you very much. So Seattle is next. Monday Night Football, one of the more difficult places to play because of the noise in that facility. It's tall on one side. They're right on top of you. Have you seen a game there at all? Watch
Not in person, but I've heard the stadium is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And the co-owner of Microsoft, the GM or something like that.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of money.
Certainly do. So what do you make of the Matt Flynn situation?
I was surprised for them to go out and spend that much money on someone and not give him an opportunity to get going in the regular season besides the preseason. He showed great things, and he set out a couple games for a shoulder or
just one game, yeah.
One game.
Little elbow tendonitis type thing.
Yeah, but, that's what they got going on over there, and there's nothing we can really do about it. Sorry for Flynn, but I'm sure he'll work his way back up there.
Yeah, his replacement, Russell Wilson, 1-1, could be 2-0, led Seattle to a 27-7 victory over the Cowboys yesterday. I'm not sure if I'm more impressed with Seattle's win or if I'm less impressed after Dallas came out with a Week 1 victory and then go out and just lay a huge egg yesterday.
Maybe it's that Seattle field. Hopefully we'll test it out and see what happens. We'll let you know next, Monday? Yeah, how it goes.
Yeah,
Tuesday how it goes.
That's the amazing thing, too. I mean, parity in today's NFL. After tonight, there's going to be 6 unbeaten teams, 6 winless teams, and 20 teams that are 1-1.
It's unbelievable. And the Packers, are we in a panic state? Or is RG3 going to be NFL MVP? Don't think of anything.
Arizona Cardinals going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's great stuff like that. It's unbelievable.
Seattle,
after just 2 weeks,
and because they play out on the West Coast and they're not a natural matchup for the Packers, so you don't know a lot about them unless you're a fantasy nut or keep really close tabs on every team around the league. But can you name a defensive player for Seattle?
KJ Wright. I played him in college, so I know he's out there.
The college guy.
Yeah, we came out the same year too.
Another one?
Winston Guy.
Okay.
Am I rolling?
All right.
We do our studying. He was supposed to go to Arkansas. He committed and left.
So you guys have worked a little bit on Seattle already.
Not as a group, but I'm sure people went out on their own and started preparing.
Okay, because they're not, there's not a lot of, not a lot of household names on that Seattle football team. Probably the one guy other than Flynn and Wilson is Lynch. Marshawn Lynch, the running back, and he's averaging over 100 a game. So
now here's the big question with Seattle: those uniforms. What do you think of those?
I think they're awesome.
They get your eyes going, man. That's pretty. The electric green.
They got the block stripe down the side and all that.
We changed it.
Pretty slick.
Yellow and electric green? How'd that look?
I think Packer fans would be upheaval if you wanted to touch that uniform.
That'd be bad. I don't want to touch it either. Our uniforms are awesome.
You know what? If
that's Bill, what he thinks of the uniform.
If the Packers got rid of this right here, this yellow,
the sparkles,
the yellow that they call gold, and
put what on
real gold, forest green and real gold, it'd look pretty.
Well, then that Lil Wayne song wouldn't sound as good.
What?
He did the remix, green and yellow.
Oh, yeah.
Green and gold. It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
It would ruin all those
bestseller
Packer songs that are out there, wouldn't it?
Start dropping some polka names. Bill will know what's going on.
No, I mean, it's
good stuff.
I'll say this. The Packers, whatever department that organizes and draws up the new clothing every year, designs it, I think they do a pretty nice job with these colors.
The other thing, too, ESPN, they did their uniform rankings of all the pro sports in NHL, NBA. Packers came in 6th overall.
That's pretty impressive.
Second best in the NFL, behind the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to change the reaction really quick. Yeah,
but it's a color combination. It's not.
It was the tradition.
It's tough to work with green and yellow, and they make it look good.
Yeah, it's green and yellow. Said that forever. They could just, but they call them the green and gold, so why not have a real gold?
I mean, it
sparkles.
Yeah, it does sparkle. Sparkle's real good. Looks real nice out of there.
Green, yellow, and sparkles.
You don't see that sparkle. You don't see that sparkle from a distance, though. I mean,
no, it's pretty. When that sun hits it just right.
If your seats are like right on the sideline, then you can see it, but most people's aren't.
I think Aaron's, his sparkle is a little bit extra. They throw a couple extra in his. I stare at it quite a bit.
Yeah. It's kind of like the old collegiate hatchets that you get for doing good things.
Get extra sparkles.
Extra
pride
sparkle on your
stickers,
helmet. The more good things you do. Do you like playing on the road?
It's fun. Getting out and seeing all these new cities. I didn't travel much, and the only time I've traveled was with football, so I like to keep it up.
Who's your pro roommate?
On the road?
Yeah.
I don't have one anymore. I got my own room.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Is that right?
That's good stuff.
You go on the road, you get your own room?
Yeah, and, we don't really, they take care of our room, so I open up those, like, $15 bottles of water and just pour them down the sink, just... So it's just pretty good going on the road.
I thought you were brought up right, but I guess I'm wrong. I guess I was really a little wrong.
I've always wanted to drink and see what's so good about it, but it's normal water. It's unbelievable. $15.
The drain needs good water, too, doesn't it?
Very true.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win over the Bears. Good luck Monday. We'll be back to talk about it on Tuesday night.
Right on.
DJ Williams. Thank you, Justin Hull. Anytime. Mike Steele, our engineer. Reggie Rizou, our producer. I'm Bill Scott. So long, everybody. You've been listening to In the Huddle from Tanners and Kimberly on the Woodward Radio Network.